All right, we are back for day 19. What I had in mind tonight was to talk about another concept because it there's a lot of like sub concepts under it, and the idea is simply no one's coming to help. No one's coming to help until right. So no one comes to help this, it's connected to W.H. Murray's quote about all sorts of incidents and material resources and events come once you commit, right? So that commitment, part of it is taking agency in your life. Let me move this camera back. So part of what we want to learn in this live stream is to take more agency. I'm gonna open up the mind map. I wanted to make sure I started at 10 because I've been starting late uh, for a couple days, and I want to make sure that just like a TV show, I'm thinking of this as a TV show or a radio show, and so I want to make sure I practice actually treating it like a radio show. Right. So I'm gonna have to update this later. Let's just create a new node because I have a lot to say, in the next 20 minutes or so, what this is all about. All right. Especially if you guys are new to this idea. And I'm going to share this. There we go. Yeah, there we go. All right. All right. So now let's just go ahead and make a new node, new main node, just for today. All right. Oh, and just to recap, last night we talked about um, the idea that uh, we intentionally move the goalpost. Okay. In our favor because we already do it. It's not some new action or new way of thinking you have to adopt. You already do it. You're just not aware of it. And once you become aware of it, you can take control of it, right? So let's move the goalpost um, in our favor. We usually do it in the negative, but people who do it in the positive, we do it so fast we aren't even aware of it. People don't judge us explicitly. We create and apply judgments to ourselves, right? So we're the ones who are going to decide. So therefore, you already do it. Therefore, move the goalpost in your favor. And what that does is that makes that creative spiral versus a uh, destructive spiral, right? I talked about you have a dream of writing a book. So you write chapter one, and then you hear Stephen King on NBC saying, "I write every day," but he's not clear about what exactly he's writing. But we'll take that and say he's writing a chapter of a book. I'm never going to catch up. I'm never going to be like him. Another example is, yeah, we ask ourselves, do we write every day? Yeah, and then we'll hear Michael Crichton. We'll read him in some literary magazine. And he says, "I have published 10." I actually don't know how many books he's published. Let's just say it's a large number, like 20, 30 books. Um, and what we ask ourselves is, do we e- do we have even one book published? Have we even talked to a publisher? Are we represented by a publisher or an agent? We don't even. We start piling up all these questions in the negative, right? And that's what these examples were. And we said that downgrading yourself is not being humble, right? All right. Let's just put this 9:20. And I want to keep going, and I will update and move things around and organize things later. But it's really important to get the ideas as they come. So, um, here we go. No one is coming to help. Therefore, um, you can go, you can get into action because you aren't waiting for anybody to come. Now, so in sort of the current political climate, there's a class of people, or there's a crowd of people who will say, "Wait a minute, but um, some people are waiting. They're waiting for justice, or they're demanding justice, or they're demanding some sort of rights, right?" The problem is that you're waiting is passive. So you're putting all of the onus on the person that you're demanding to actually come come up with it, as opposed to going ahead and creating your own action, right? No one's coming to help, therefore you can get into action. You can just get busy. Let's up this. Get busy because you aren't waiting for anybody, right? So this is about agency. So agency versus victimhood. Now, agency, I mean, this is commonly called taking responsibility, right? Um, I really don't like that word because there's a little bit of moral judgment to it, right? Agency just means um, your your mind and body work for you, right? Right, and you can do and say things, right? That may seem obvious, but when we are stuck in victim mode, what happens is that we start demanding. So victim mode, we complain, demand. Now, this doesn't mean that people aren't victims. You can have both and. So this is a case of both and, right? You can literally be worthy of a judgment, like some like lawsuit in your favor, right? Because of a malpractice, some doctor damaged your some nerve somewhere in your body. Okay, yeah, you are definitely due some sort of compensation. However, you have to actually file a lawsuit. You have to do something. You have to take some action. So you still have to take some action, right? And can have both and. We can have both and. It's just a perspective. Same way that the creating spiral versus a destructive spiral is a perspective. We could both go in different directions. But what's more useful and what is more sort of helpful to human beings and to yourself is that positive creative spiral. That's all. Both are equally powerful, right? So you can have both and it it's just a perspective. When I say no one is coming to help, what it really means is is um No one's coming to help. Yeah. Here's what I want to say. There's nothing outside of you that will get things going. No external, you know, stimulus. Stimulus. Just your decision. It's just you deciding. Just you deciding. Right. So it's just you deciding. You generate the external stimulus and response by deciding internally first and then acting on the world, moving things around, right? Acting on the world, right? And getting responses, well, acting on the world, getting responses. So instead of waiting for somebody to say something, we start and we initiate a conversation, for example, or we initiate some type of business offer or consulting offer. And then from that interaction, you can get some results, right? Uh, getting response, uh, getting re- rejected. You know, all these things is a part of learning. So when you, it's feedback, right? Feedback, right? If you act upon the world, you get feedback and you can then build upon that. You can build, you can iterate, and you can learn. Iterate, iterate. So everything that you want to create in your life with this designed approach is creating an action on the world, right? Some of the people in the coaching world call this a first ask of the world, a first ask that you put out, a first ask that you put out into the world, right? And then when people respond, you you engage deeper, and then the third or fourth time you can talk about working with them. For this, just this is an example I learned in a course. Okay, so you act on the world, you get a response. So what are things that happens when you start acting? Things move, right? So you move things, move. You either get a response from people, or you get rejected, or you learn something. You get some sort of feedback, right? Feedback, learning. Put feedback under here. Build, iterate, and then move. Okay. All right. All right. So what else about no one is coming to help? The other I want to connect this with the other quote I mentioned. Don't let's make this bigger so you all can see it. Um, don't wait until iron is hot to strike. Rather, make iron hot by striking. By striking. What this does is it puts it. It's a complete. For a lot of people, this is a new idea. This is a new idea, because what will happen is that people will wait, because we're in this manager society, right? And uh, waiting uh, is normal now, right? We wait for instructions, we wait for jobs, you know we wait for tasks to be given to us, for assignments to be given to us, right? For notes to be given to us, uh, for presentations to be given to us, for words to be given to us, to be told something. Words, right? Being told something. And what happens is that you become a response machine. You don't generate or stimulate anything outside of your world. You just respond to, to everything that's coming for you. That's overwhelming. All right. Waiting is overwhelming. Right. Right. And that's why creating chaos is so effective. Right. You can create order and you can create beauty, but chaos is so effective because it's very easy to just throw something. And that's why is very popular among people who call themselves activists. It feels good because you don't have to think too much about it. You just smash stuff and break stuff, right? Same way you did when you were a little kid, when you're upset, you smash and break stuff, and then everybody around you now has to react and respond to that, right? So we complain, we demand, and as victims, we a victim does not mean that something bad happened to you or somebody abused you, right? It's a mentality, right? Respond, respond. That's all we do. Complain. Or in the victim mindset, you can complain, demand, and respond. Now, and most humans are in this mindset. Actually, most humans put up with an insane amount of bad treatment, right? So I'm not saying that bad things happen to people because again, this is just a perspective. This is something that it's like this jacket I have on. It's a perspective that you can choose to put on, and then if you want, you can take it off later. But if you want to get into action, which is what my show slash podcast is all about, how we men can get back into action and be more productive and spend more of our day in focus, in concentration on things that we actually love doing. How can we do that? And then on top of that is how then can we turn it into something where we can actually make a living off of it? That's even cooler, right? So this is just a perspective, and that's useful. That's useful. Um, I was listening to a Scott Adams podcast once, and he said something that that that's really useful. He said, um, "The way that you test your worldview is that you try to use it to make predictions. So ask yourself with this perspective, with this worldview, that no one is coming to help. In general, I'm not saying that people don't help, right? Doesn't all right, doesn't mean people don't help. It just means they help because set you set out to do something first. The help, it's like what W.H. Murray is talking about. The help comes after you take actions, right? After you take action. Okay, cool. I'm trying to think what else I wanted to say about this. Hey guys, I think we're good for now, and I'm going to end the session, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. I have to prepare for a podcast. I'm going to be back on Josh Boone's show, the Josh Boone show. So I think I'll share that via LinkedIn, It should be about between 2 and 3 hours, right? And I'm using that as one of the incidents that came out of me starting this live stream, right? Getting back into the groove, and then people come and they say, "Oh, you're doing this now? Hey, come do it with me, or come show me how to do it." Make sense? Right. So I'm gonna work on that tomorrow morning, and that's it for now. I'm gonna end the session, and everybody have a good night. I'm gonna click end stream